start to finish, which will also include signing up with Toyota to obviously have access to their technical information, and of course along with that their reprogramming information. A lot of the stuff you won't have to repeat once you get the software onto your laptop itself or your PC. So again, we're going to take you through from the front to the end of doing the actual signing up for the reprogramming process, as well as actually loading the software itself. So with that said, let's do a little bit of housekeeping. I'd like to thank the folks from CL Aftermarket Products for sponsoring our webinars. They've been with us for quite a while, and we certainly appreciate their continued support. If you're having any type of connection issues, make sure you are a hardwired style connection. We've had some wireless router issues. The handout itself is a PDF format handout. It's available on the ATRA website. Most of you guys download it before we get started, but if you didn't, you can go back to the website and get access to it. If you have any questions we're going through in this information today, feel free to ask it. The simplest way to do that is to click on the questions box, type your question in, hit the submit key, and it will automatically pop up on my screen, and I'll try to answer your question at that point. When we're all said and done here today, we're going to have an automated survey that we'd appreciate you guys filling out. If you have any questions regarding membership or anything like that, you can get a hold of Lance, who's the technical director for ATRA, at lwiggins@atra.com, and he'll be glad to answer any type of membership or any other questions you have regarding ATRA. I'd like to send a special thanks out to the guys from Drew Technologies. They've always been a big help for me. I go back and visit them every year back in Michigan when I go back to the engineering meetings back there. And so again, these guys you're also going to find are the essential tool for Toyota when it comes to doing reprogramming on Toyota vehicles for Toyota dealers. So the information as well as the tools that you're going to see us use are the same whether you're an independent aftermarket shop or if you're actually a Toyota dealer. You're going to be using the same exact type of tools. So again, a big vote of appreciation to the guys from Drew Tech. Those of you guys that were with me with the other calibration classes that we went through, we talked about J2534, what it actually is. If you have not been with us in the other programming classes, what it basically is it's an SAE standard, Society of Automotive Engineers standard. It was developed right after OB2 was introduced to allow you to actually download software into the vehicles rather than have to replace a replaceable chip like a PROM, like you used to have to do on lots of different vehicles. The standard itself, there's 3 different standards. One standard is designed, the -1 standard, for reprogramming engine and transmission functionality. -2 standard was updated here a few years ago, and basically what it boils down to is that allows you to do other types of controllers on your vehicle. So that becomes real important when we're talking about how integrated these systems are on today's cars and trucks. You might not be able to simply reprogram the engine controller and fix whatever your issue is. It may take, obviously, an analog brake control, reprogramming or a transfer case, or something else that you're going to have to deal with. The -3 standard, of course, is a tool test standard for the manufacturers. If you want to sell the tool as a J2534 tool, you got to meet certain standards, and that's what that standard basically upholds. When you're looking for tools, guys, lots of different sources for the J2534 tools. Just make sure that they fit the -1 and -2 standards, preferably the -2 standards, so that you can do multiple different things that are out there. Now, the principle is the same no matter whose piece of equipment you're using, whether it's Drew Tech's or somebody else's. It really doesn't make any difference. You're going to be going to the internet, to the website of the manufacturer, in this instance Toyota, downloading the information via your laptop or your PC, carrying it through what they call the pass-through device, which could be a box like we're seeing here in this picture, or it could be a cable. For example, I use a cable on GM applications. You're going to see Toyota uses a cable in their dealership applications here today. That information is then passed on to the vehicle, and we, of course, update the calibration of the vehicle via the calibration tables that you found on the factory website. So that kind of gives you an idea of what the process is actually going to be. There are 3 different versions of programming that are actually out there. The first version, again, is something that manufacturers have used for a long time. A lot of them are moving away from it right now. It's called direct programming. You take your scan tool and you would ID the vehicle itself, go to the website, download the software, go back to the vehicle itself, and then, of course, upload the software. The second form of programming was remote programming. A lot of guys are starting to do remote programming because they want to be able to do a bench update when they get a new controller, as an example. They make harnesses for that from different companies. People will also just do jumper wires, figure out what they need to do jumper wire-wise to be able to power the control module up and get the data in. So again, there's different ways to do it, but remote basically means you don't have to have the car in order to physically program the control module. The third and final way is what they call pass-through, and that's what we're going to do. That's what a lot of the OEs are now embracing, is the same exact information and same exact process that you guys use in the independent aftermarket. Pass-through means that you're going to have some sort of module interfacing you between your website that you're going to go to and the vehicle itself. And you're passing that software through that device. Now, one precaution I'm going to give you here, when you're using your laptop or your PC, you're going to need a high-speed internet connection, and you're going to need to be hardwired. A lot of companies will tell you you can do this wireless. I'm going to sit here and tell you that you're asking for troubles if you try to do it wireless. We've had quite a bit of experience doing programming, and the problem that you have is a lot of these shops have lots of different wireless signals bouncing around on the inside of the shop. We've had interference issues in some shops when they're trying to use Bluetooth or some other form of wireless signal. So bottom line is, I believe that we should be hardwired to your internet connection. I think that's the simplest and easiest way to do this job and gives you the least amount of headache. So that's what I would recommend that you're going to do. When you're talking about the J2534 devices, it can either be a box like this. As you can see, here are some of the different DrewTech boxes that DrewTech builds for Snap-on and Launch and so forth. Or it can be a cable. The cables are specific to the vehicle you're working on. So my point being, if you're working with a Toyota, you're going to have a cable for a Toyota. You're working with a GM, you'll have a cable for a GM and so forth. So the cable basically replaces this box. The box is generic. It allows you to work on multiple different types of vehicles. As we talked about before, you need to have a hardwired high-speed internet connection. Again, hardwired connections are far less problem than a wireless type of connection. You need to use a battery maintainer. There's a couple different kinds of battery maintainers that are out there in the industry. One gives you a fixed battery voltage output. The other gives you an adjustable battery voltage output. My words of wisdom would be to buy the one that uses adjustable voltage because, again, if you're going to do multiple different companies, some companies have different voltage requirements than other companies do. The bottom line is reprogramming today takes a lot longer on many of the applications than it used to take. So having a battery maintainer becomes really important to keep the battery charged as you're going through the reprogramming process because it may take a while. When you get your PC or your laptop that you're going to want to use on this vehicle, make sure that it's compatible with obviously the equipment and the vehicles. Go to the website of the company you're going to want to do programming for. So in this instance, Toyota, we would go to the Toyota website, GM would go to the GM website and so forth, and we would make sure before we bought a new laptop or PC to do programming with, we'd make sure that that piece of equipment physically fits the characteristics and requirements, the specifications, in other words, for those manufacturers. Just because it was a blue light special at Best Buy does not necessarily mean that that's going to be the PC that you should buy to do reprogramming with. So make sure that obviously it meets whatever specs there are so that you're not disappointed when you start doing the reprogramming process. One of the other words of wisdom I would give you is when you're doing program, I would highly recommend you take your laptop or your PC to somebody that does computer work and have them basically partition your hard drive. What we're saying basically here is that we've had, when guys try to do multiple different types of vehicles, in other words, you're going to do GMs, Fords, Chryslers, Toyotas, Hondas, Nissans, and so forth, we've had some software conflicts amongst some of the manufacturer's software. So it becomes a real pain trying to figure out if it's software related or not. Well, you can fix that simply by partitioning the hard drive. What I'm basically telling you to do is have somebody basically partition the hard drive, kind of like having a pie and having slices out of that pie. Each slice represents a manufacturer. So you put your information for Toyota in its little pocket, and you put your information for GM in its little section. And so when you're going to access that information, you're not going completely across everybody's software routines and getting yourself into trouble. So again, what we're talking about here is actually making space on the drive simply for those specific manufacturers, so we do not have software conflicts. Again, that's something I've ran into when guys are trying to do multiple different kinds of cars. Disable your antivirus software, pop-up blockers, and so forth. It's real important you do that because you can end up in some sort of interference issue. Don't do anything to the car unless the screen on your PC or laptop tells you to. If it tells you to turn the key on, then turn the key on. If it doesn't tell you to turn it off, don't turn it off. So bottom line is simply follow the instructions and you will not get yourself in trouble. After you're done reprogramming some of the controllers, you're going to have to relearn the different items on that controller list. An example would be your shift adapts. Once you erase your shift adapts by dumping the program, you're going to have to go through and relearn those adapts. So any car that you get programmed or you're programming yourself, you got to go through and physically do a fast learn on it, or obviously your road test on it to get the relearn to actually occur. Make sure all your accessories are turned off because, again, we do not want battery voltage issues. Don't run other applications on your laptop when you're running the J2534 application. In other words, don't go out, obviously, on the eBay site and the Amazon site searching for stuff there while you're trying to run the J2534 application. If you're running that application, just do that one function. The emergency brake needs to be set on some brands of cars. Again, we made this as a generic thing because some require it, some don't. It's a good idea on anybody's stuff. Last little precaution down there is equipment such as aftermarket radios have given us fits. A lot of those aftermarket radios themselves interfere with some of the reprogramming process, especially on the CAN bus system. So if you got aftermarket radios or you have other types of aftermarket equipment like amplifiers, make sure you disable those prior to doing your reprogramming. Again, it'll make your life a lot simpler. If you follow these basic things here, 99 and 9/10% of the time you're not going to have a problem with doing reprogramming. All right, so now let's talk about how we actually get signed up with Toyota. And again, as I spoke earlier, a lot of this information will be a one-time thing for you. Once you establish your username and password and your account, you're not going to have to go through these hoops that we're talking about here over and over again. So we're going to go to a website for Toyota called techinfo.toyota.com. So we're going to put that in our search bar. We're going to search. It's going to come up with this page that looks just like this. Now, at this point, what's going to happen is you're going to be looking in the middle of the page at the top. It says, do you need an account? If you want an account, which you're going to have an account in order to be able to download the software, you're going to basically subscribe to it. So we're going to click the subscribe button itself, as you can see indicated by the large blue arrow there on the screen. That's going to take us to the next screen, which is going to ask us, what do you want to subscribe for? Do you want basic services? Do you want reprogramming services? Do you want security professional services? Well, we're going to choose professional diagnostics. That will give you shop manual information, bulletins, all that good stuff, plus it gives you the ability to do calibration updates. So it's going to cost us $55, as you can see on this Toyota, for a 2-day subscription. So we're going to have Toyotas lined up, obviously, to do the recals with. We'll simply hit the continue button at this point, and that'll move us to the next screen. We've established a username and password, so now what we're going to do is we're going to plug our username and password in, and we're going to log into that. So now as we log into that, it's going to take you to another screen. That screen itself gives you a couple features. First off, it gives you some technical assistance information from Identifix. So if you have some things you're thinking about, problems on these particular vehicles, you can go to Identifix and search their database. And it also gives us information for programming. So actually loading the software on your scan tool for programming, or I should say on your laptop for programming. So we're going to click on the TIS box, which will then take us to the diagnostics box right here. So when I click on that diagnostics box, as you can see, that gives us a pull-down menu. And at the base of that menu, down in the middle of the screen, you can see I've highlighted basically loading the software for this vehicle. So it's called a full install. That's what I've highlighted in dark blue right in the middle of the screen, right above the word that says tech screen. So I'm clicked on that. Now as I move forward with this, I'm going to simply click on that. Again, I've highlighted that with the red arrow so you know where to click. What this is going to do is it's going to load the software onto your laptop. It's going to allow your laptop to interface with Toyota's website. So it's going to remember your laptop, remember your subscription when we're all said and done with this, and you won't have to go through this over and over again every time you use it. Again, as you can see right above that red arrow, there's another button that says Update. So if there's been an update to the software for your laptop since the last time you did the reprogramming, you'd simply click on that button. Now at this point, we're ready to load the software to get our laptop to work. So it tells us we're going to have several pages popping up here. Each of these screens represents a page. We're going to click the Run box twice, if you notice what we're saying here. So run the first time top, run the second time in the middle, and then the third one is going to be selecting the language, which in this instance I've selected English to allow me to operate this Toyota system. Just like other software installations, it tells us, are you ready to start the installation? We're going to hit the next button to start it. The middle screen, as you can see there, is telling us that you're going to have a licensing or user agreement that you're going to have to agree to, just like any other software. So we're going to click the next button. And the last screen on the bottom is telling us to put our username in, so obviously it knows who we are. And then we click the next button. Now at this point, we're ready to install the software. So we've gone out to the Toyota network itself. We've grabbed the information. We're ready to put it onto our laptop. So I click the Install button, and that will then be followed up by the next screen, which is the TechScreen software installation, the Install Wizard, which we're going to click the Finish button when we're all said and done with this. Now, once you do that, what it's going to do is it's going to put this icon, which is the TechStream icon, onto your desktop. So the next time you go into this thing, you don't have to go through this whole rigmarole. You can simply click on the TechStream icon and in turn go into the Toyota network. So again, they're going to make it very simple, very similar to what GM and Ford and everybody else has done by putting an icon right on your laptop desktop. Now, once we've installed it, we have to register our software. So if you notice, we're into TechStream right now. So we're into TIS. On the left-hand side, you can see I put a big giant blue arrow to show you the software registration portion here. And again, you're only going to have to do this if you renew your software or this is the first time you're doing this. So bottom line is we're going to click on the software registration screen. That will take us to another software registration screen itself. Obviously, at this point, we're going to click the software registration. Now, if you notice there's a blank box there that says New Key. We're going to generate a special key code based off of us interfacing with the tech system itself that Toyota has. Once we do that, we're ready to move on. Now, about the only thing we ever run into with the Toyota system is right here. Sometimes when you're going through and you're trying to get the software to load onto your laptop, you will get this top screen I'm showing you right here where it says Internet Explorer cannot display the web page. If you do have that happen, this is what causes that. You look at the second box down there. Notice the address in that box. I get an address that says TIS Toyota. Well, there is a TIS Toyota also, but we're supposed to be at the Tech Info portion of Toyota. So if we have this happen, we simply change that address, and it will then take us to the area of the website we're actually supposed to go to. So again, this is about the only hitch in the giddy up we run into with the Toyota system when guys are trying to get enrolled in the Toyota software program. At this point, we're ready to calculate our new software number. So we're going to hit the Calculate button. That's the gray button there. It's going to generate a number. And what we're going to do is, in that second box down in the bottom, you notice I have highlighted the number basically in blue next to the top blue arrow. We're going to copy that number. So Control-C. We're going to copy that number. We're going to carry that number over into the next screen, which is where that key code went that we had blank there before. Once I in turn click and start to put that into that key area, that new key area, I simply hit Control-V, and that will then paste that information that I copied from the last screen over into this screen. I hit the OK button itself, and now we are registering our software. So now Toyota knows who you are. It knows what your controller is, in other words, what your PC is, and it's going to come up with a message that tells you how many days of this subscription you actually have left. Once you're done, you say yes to continue, and we're now ready to hook to the vehicle. So hopefully we have stayed hooked to the internet, because you're going to need to be hooked to the internet here in the near future. If you haven't, you're going to want to hook back up to the internet, but hopefully you're just like I am. You've stayed hooked up to the internet right now, and you're going to click on the box that says connect to the vehicle. That's the top blue box, as you can see there. When you click the connect to the vehicle, it's going to go out and pull the vehicle and ID it. It's going to say confirm that this is what kind of car you're working with. Well, we got a Toyota Sienna 2006. If this is what we're working on, we're going to hit the next box, and that will start moving us into the reprogramming process. Now, one of the things I'm going to tell you to do, you don't have to do, but it is still a really good idea. Toyota gives you the abilities to do something called a state of health check. You should always do that if you're working on a Toyota car. What this basically does is it goes out and pings all the modules. So it basically does a roll call of everybody on the bus. And then it comes back and tells you who is actually present at the roll call. It will also tell you what trouble codes are set in each module. It will also tell you if there's a software update for any of these modules. So right now we've done a health check. It's gone out and it's pinged the modules, and these are the modules that are available on this Toyota Sienna. It says, which modules do you want to really work with? Well, I've clicked, as you can see, powertrain, chassis, and body. Those are the modules I'm most concerned about. So those are the guys we went after right now. To make our life a little bit simpler, we're not going after everybody. So I now click the next box. It says, okay, the health check is complete. Hit the continue button itself, and now it's going to give me a state of health for those modules that we just talked about. So here's the end of the state of health check. Pretty neat idea. As you can see, gives me the engine and transmission controller, gives me the codes that are set in those controllers, tells me if they're current, their history, whatever they happen to be, tells me that the calibration numbers are in those controllers. And if you notice on the right-hand side, you get the big blue arrow there. That tells me if there's an update available for that particular controller calibration number or not. So as you can see, we got a yes in that box, which means that we do have an update available for the software for this vehicle. If we clicked on that, you're going to move to another screen that's going to take you to what the update actually is. We're showing you your calibration numbers that you're going to see on your scan tool on the left-hand side, and we're showing you in the middle, in the blue area, it says what that ECM calibration is for. It says it's for shift field enhancement. And it's saying that calibration has been revised. That means there's probably more than one cal that's been out there to do this exact function. If we're to click on that blue area, right where my blue arrow is at, it's going to link you right to the bulletins that are related to that software update. So in this instance, what you're seeing is you're seeing the Toyota bulletins that are related to that particular software update, so that you know exactly what it is that that calibration actually does for you. Really a neat feature that Toyota has. Wish everybody did this. It will also tell you if, in fact, the calibration numbers have been superseded at all. So right now it's saying, look at my calibration number on my vehicle, and it's saying that that calibration number has been updated, it's been superseded by a new part number. Do I want to download that new part number? So right where the blue arrow is at, I got an OK box, so I'm going to say, yes, I do want to download the new part number. It's going to say, well, you're going to have to save it to your laptop. So what I've done on my laptop is I've made a Toyota file. So there's basically a file folder, and I'm going to put it in that Toyota file folder. So I'm just going to click Save, and I'm going to name the file itself. I'm going to click Save again, and it's going to save it to that file folder. At that point, we can then open that file. So you're going to have a box that pops up once it's done downloading it into that file, and we're going to simply click the Open box. Right now, we're ready to start downloading our software. So Toyota's calibration wizard will automatically pop up on your screen as soon as you hit the open box. At this point, it's telling us that, hey, we're ready to hook to that calibration you just stored on your laptop and put it in the car. Are you ready for that? And so we're going to say yes by clicking on the next box as shown by that large blue arrow I put on the screen. Now it's telling me to make sure that I got everything hooked up to the car. Well, I should have everybody hooked up prior to doing this, but if I don't, I need to make sure that I do right now. So we're connected to the PC and obviously to the Toyota network. We're connected obviously to the car, key on, engine off. Right now it's telling you to select the type of tool you're dealing with. So in this instance, we're dealing with the cable system itself that DrewTech has. So it's the Mongoose Pro cable that we're going to be hooked to, basically the one that Toyota uses. And we're now going to hit the next button to start the download. First box on the top is showing you that it's establishing communications with the vehicle. The next box is showing you that it's ready to download some new calibration numbers. So on the right-hand side, it's showing you the new cal numbers. Left-hand side is showing you the old cal numbers. So we're going to say next on that bottom box down there, where the big blue arrow's at again. At that point, we're going to start loading the cals. So we're going to load the cals in the vehicle itself. You're going to have a bar graph that comes across showing you the state of loading that cal. In other words, how long in the process, how far along in the process are we actually at this point. Once we're all said and done with programming, it's going to come up with this screen which shows you the calibration number that you just got done loading into the different controllers. Now at this point you can print it so you can attach something to the RO, or you can simply hit the finish button. At this point you basically are done doing the programming process. So I think you guys can probably see once you get the sign-up process done with Toyota, to where you don't have to go through loading the software onto your laptop to make your laptop work, this is a pretty darn fast process. Toyota is one of the simplest systems to actually do recals on. So again, they've got their ducks in a row pretty well. It works very well. A lot of stuff that you'd have to pay attention to on other vehicles you don't have to on the Toyotas. If you simply follow the precautions I've given you before, you're not going to get yourself in trouble on any of this stuff. So really pretty simple operation. Well, again, I'd like to say a special thanks to the guys from Drew Technologies. Again, they're great guys to help us out. I'd like to also say a thanks to our sponsor, which is, of course, Seal Aftermarket Products. We certainly appreciate their continued support. I don't see any questions that are popping up right now, so hopefully everybody's off to the races with this thing. Now, we're going to skip a week here, guys, before we come back and do another webinar. We're going to be doing the webinar for you guys at your time zone on the 25th of June. So that will be your next webinar. It's going to be on finding aftermarket calibrations that have been installed in vehicles. So we're going to be tackling that on the 25th. So we're actually not going to be doing a webinar on the 18th like we normally would do every 2 weeks. We're not going to do it until the 25th because I've got to be on the road. So until then, guys, I hope you have yourself a great week. I hope you enjoyed yourself. And so we'll talk to you at the next time. It says, do we get a copy of the presentation? Yes, you do. Simply go to the ATRE website and get yourself a copy. You can download a copy right off the website. If you're running into troubles with that, you can contact the ATRE home office. It's 805-604-2000 is the phone number. They're in Oxnard, California. And you can talk to either Sean or Lance, and they can get you a copy of the presentation. But it's actually right on the ATRE website. You simply download it and off you go. So hopefully that'll help you out. If you do run into problems, give the guys a call, either Sean or Lance at the home office, and they'll be able to help you out. All right, guys, have yourself a great week, and we'll talk to you on the 25th.